Welcome to the next module in this program, and today we're going to talk about cold showers, ice baths, and cold thermogenesis. You're probably wondering what that is. I'm sure you know what cold showers and ice baths are, but this really is an exercise in resilience, mental toughness, and awareness. Now, obviously, you see the guy in the picture there, completely submerged, which looks like it in the sea and the ice. I'm not expecting to do that, but we're going to talk about the benefits of cold showers, ice baths, and exactly what cold thermogenesis is. So let's talk about that. What you may have heard of the term. This may be something completely new to you, but thermogenesis or thermogenic is just the body's way of burning calories. So when we're exposed to cold, we produce heat, as we know, to keep our bodies warm, and this in turn stimulates our metabolism. That's basically how we stay alive as humans. And the same thermogenic is also a process that you will know about, because I taught you this in your first 12 weeks. So every time we consume food, our bodies will digest food and actually increase the heat, and that's how our body generates energy. But it's exactly the same as when we're exposed to cold. Now, the hormones involved in body temperature regulation, they also play a role in stimulating heat-related fat breakdown, and we're going to talk about BAT, which is brown adipose tissue, in a bit. But they also stimulate epinephrine, which is adrenaline, Americans call adrenaline epinephrine, and norepinephrine, which are both neurotransmitters, very, very similar, and other thyroid hormones. So it's great for stimulating the body, gets you to generate energy, and in turn burn more calories and burn body fat. And there we are. So it stimulates brown adipose tissue, BAT, as it's known, shortened to, also known as brown fat, but aka adiponectin. That's the technical name. We'll stick with BAT. But brown adipose tissue is kind of stored on the body around the spinal cord, kidneys, and the neck, which is why the neck feels very, very sensitive when you go under something cold. That's the area that we all seem to want protected. So cold exposure can actually increase the amount of BAT on your body. Some of the research shows. Some of the other research is kind of out there. It's not 100%, but some of the research has shown that by continual cold exposure, you can increase the amount of brown adipose tissue you have on your body, which could in turn lead to boosting your fat burning potential and your metabolism. So that's basically what cold thermogenesis is. So let's look at some of the physical benefits. Now, why would you want to do this? You're probably thinking, oh, Gav, I like my baths nice and warm. I love a nice hot shower. Well, look, here's the thing. So do I. Nothing changes there. But there's some great benefits for actually getting into cold shower, cold bath, or a plunge pool, or however you do it. Well, first of all, number one, wake up. It's time to get up when you get into a cold shower, because there's no disputing. It's bloody painful. It just boosts everything. You're alive. You feel invigorated. It can be quite painful. The bath can. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go through this. But it's just a great way to start the day. It's much tougher in the winter than it is the summer or a warmer climate, but it's just a really great way to start the day. It's fantastic at regulating stress, and it will definitely spike your stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline we mentioned there. Cortisol is a hormone that we kind of associate with stress when cortisol levels are raised, but believe it or not, we actually need cortisol raised in the morning. It's actually a rise or a spike in cortisol that wakes us up in the morning, like 5, 6, 7 a.m. whenever you get up. But it's a really good way to spike these hormones in a positive way. And it's been shown to boost testosterone, which could increase fertility. So that's a great thing. It's fantastic for skin health. You may have heard, particularly ladies listening to this, but splashing cold water onto the skin in the morning tightens the skin. And this is absolutely true. But cold water over the whole body is fantastic for skin health. Improves circulation. What happens when you get exposed to cold? Your veins, they actually shrink I was going to actually say they dilate. That's the opposite. So they actually shrink down, and then when you warm up a bit, they dilate, vasodilation, and that just improves circulation. We'll talk about a different protocol of doing hot, cold, hot, cold. So the body's like shrinking the veins and then dilating them, shrinking them, dilating them. And that process is actually very, very good for the circulation. It can, despite sort of what most people think, cold exposure will actually strengthen your immune system. You know, a lot of the old wives' tales from back in the day, and I'm sure I recall hearing my mum saying, you know, make sure you wrap up well, you know, you'll catch a death, you know, that you don't get a cold from being exposed to cold. A cold is a virus, something that you have to actually get from someone or pick up germs. You don't get it from being exposed to cold. Otherwise, people in cold countries be walking around with the colds all the time. That's just not the case. But prolonged cold exposure done the right way can definitely strengthen your immune system. We talked about the ability to burn body fat, the brown adipose tissue, and it's a great way. If you struggle with your sleep, I really recommend looking into what we're talking about: cold showers, ice baths, cold exposure to improve sleep. We know that we sleep best when we're slightly cool. I think it's about 18 degrees. Don't hold me to that. I'll have to check that. I think it's about 18 degrees that we sleep best at. So if you're definitely too hot or too cold, you won't get a good sleep. But if you're at the right temperature, our bodies really like to be, you know, quite cool when we sleep. So if you're someone that runs hot, it may be a good idea to have a cold shower in the evening, maybe an hour, half an hour before you go to bed. And that can be a great way to enable a good night's sleep. So that's the physical benefits. Let's look at some of the mental benefits. And this for me is where cold showers and this kind of protocol comes into its own. First of all, state control. When you get under a cold shower, it's not fun. It really teaches you a lot about trying to control how you are. What's like, I know I can't see you, but tell me what happens when you get, if you got under a cold shower. You get under, you're like, you know, you do that gasp of breath, you're like, oh my God, this is cold. You're moving around, you're trying to avoid putting your shoulders under it. You know, when you get used to this and you get to actually control your body and how you look at the cold, you take deep breath in, you can stand there and you can actually take the pain. It's a really good way to kind of control your own mental state, even your physical state to a certain extent. Resilience, it's going to teach you a lot about whether you can actually get under there. And at the recording of this this module, I've got back into cold showers. So I thought it was a great time to talk about this. And I know I'm on the 4th day of actually doing this, and already I'm doing it a lot longer, a lot easier. And the thought of actually going into a cold shower, actually I'm doing ice bath as well, it's just not that bad. This kind of links into mental toughness. You'll learn a lot about yourself. As humans, we tend to avoid things that are difficult or uncomfortable. And certainly if you're watching this presentation compared to, you know, literally hundreds of millions, if not billions of people on the planet, life's pretty sweet. We've got things pretty comfortable. You know, however bad things can get for us, life generally is reasonably comfortable. So making yourself uncomfortable sometimes can be a good way to kind of appreciate what you have. Number 4, it's an action taking habit. It's just a really great way to start the day. You know what, if I'm going to jump under that shower, it's kind of like a metaphor for life. I can get under there, expose myself to this cold. It's something I really don't want to do. Maybe I can take that mental fortitude over into other areas of my life, like getting to the gym or watching my calories or controlling my carbs or reducing my alcohol. I don't know, maybe. I know for me, it certainly helps. And this kind of links into number 5. It's a learning opportunity. It's really a learning opportunity to learn about yourself. You know, are you a man or mouse, as my dad used to say? And it's funny because I found myself saying that to my son. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It was always done in jest with my dad. It wasn't like, you know, put yourself together, son, you shouldn't cry. It wasn't like that. It was just, certainly you man or mouse. I always remember him saying that, you know, just to kind of jump in and get on. And I say that to myself before I'm about to get under the shower, you man or mouse. And that's not to say that we as men or anyone can't have feelings and feel emotions, but it was just a nice little way to G myself up and get my head under that shower and just get on with it. Number 6, alleviate depression. I'm not in a position where I can actually comment on this from a first-hand experience, but the evidence suggests that people that do suffer with depression, the cold therapy, ice baths, cold showers can definitely help symptoms with that. So it could be something you want to look at on a personal level. And number 7, this is probably something you haven't heard of, the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is stimulated when we gasp for air. When you splash your face with cold water, get into that shower, you do that initial that shock. When you stimulate the vagus nerve, you actually reduce the stress because it just stimulates different things in the body, that parasympathetic nervous system, and that just tells your body to kind of relax. I think it's the mammalian dive reflex. This is exactly what happened. This happens when all mammals put their face underwater. It just stimulates that vagus nerve. You get that shock, gasp of breath, and it just tells the body to relax. So that's a nice little benefit from that. Make this a daily habit before you do anything else. I'm into it right now. Just do it first thing in the morning. Have your hot shower afterwards. We're going to talk about how we would add that into your bathing or washing protocol in the morning. But do this as a daily habit. Just get into the habit of doing it. It burns body fat. There's a picture of an overweight pug. I'm not suggesting that any of you look like that, but if you're watching this module, you've got body fat to lose. I've got body fat to lose. Pretty much everyone doing this has got body fat to lose. So even from a physical perspective, if it helps you get that edge, might be worth looking at. So let's look at actually how you can bring this into your day and the procedures or protocols. Okay. So it's a 5-minute protocol, and you would get into the shower, run it to the normal heat that you would do, and do 30 seconds hot, and then brace yourself, turn it as you can to cold, and go for cold. Repeat that 5 times in total. Then you can do your hair, shower, wash your hair, whatever you need to do, but do the protocol first. That's a 5-minute. That's a great way to start. And eventually, even after about 3 or 4 days, you'll get this will get a lot easier. It becomes a lot easier mentally, physically. It just doesn't feel as cold. The first time, if you've never done this before, it's hard to even stand in a cold shower for 30 seconds. Probably you could even try this doing 30 seconds in 10 and build up. Some of you might be able to go straight in there, but from personal experience, it's very, very hard to actually do 30 seconds straight off. That's the shower protocol. Now, if you want to do the ice bath, assuming you haven't got access to a frozen lake, run a cold water bath, add ice if needed. In the winter, you probably won't need to add too much ice in the summer, maybe. The ideal temperature is between about 10 to 15 degrees. Just to give you some context, the North Sea in the winter is around about 6 or 7 degrees. So that's pretty cold. I made the mistake of my first ice bath of taking it down to 4.5 degrees. And I was thinking, okay, I ran a cold bath and put 4 big bags of ice in and checked the temperature. And I thought 4.5 degrees, okay, it's not freezing. It seemed quite cold. I'd seen people, jump into ice baths with ice floating on the top. Got in 4.5 degrees and lasted a long 4 seconds. And it was the most painful thing. It wasn't cold, it was just painful. It was like someone was burning my feet, like sharp daggers, needles gripping into my ankles. It was brutal. And I'm not exactly selling this protocol, am I? But I realized, I thought, that can't be right. I'm not that much of a pussy. My resilience is quite good. I'd wanted to do it. I wasn't being forced to do it. I thought, something's wrong here. I then looked into it and realized I'd actually taken it too cold. And in the winter, the cold water could run around about 10, 11, 12 degrees. So that's probably a good place to start. Run a really cold bath, check that it's not too warm, maybe add a bit of ice in if need to, but you probably won't in the winter, and just get in there. And when the first time that I did the ice bath at the right temperature was around about 12 degrees, and I lasted 5 minutes. So that was a great start. So I actually probably got some some benefits from that. As 4 seconds was just painful. I didn't get anything from that. So there's the ice bath protocol. So don't make it too cold. Otherwise, you just won't get the benefits and you just won't be able to stay in there. And taking it back from even the showers and the baths, start even small, and you can still get some of the benefits. So submerge your face into cold water and hold as long as possible. So just dunk your head into the cold water and you'll stimulate that vagus nerve because you'll gasp, and it'll be quite tough. But do that as long as you can and build up over a number of days, even a couple of weeks. Probably even less than that is just splash your face 10 times. So you're not even exposed. Just head down to the bowl, splash it, and even that will get that gasp, especially if you do this first thing in the morning. So there's ways to start, and after you've built up from that, maybe go to the shower and then try the ice bath. Now, some of you masochistic people out there may want to just jump straight into the ice bath or go and find your nearest frozen lake. If you're going to jump into cold water in a lake, be careful. Make sure you're with someone. Cold kills. If you jump into a lake at 4 degrees and you get into trouble, you will die if no one's around. So make sure safety is paramount. It's probably best to start with a cold bath in the confines of your own bathroom. But definitely start. Okay, action steps. Just go and do it. I want you to try this. Again, like with all these modules and all these protocols that I'm introducing you to, nothing is compulsory. You don't have to do this. I'm just bringing ideas to you that could help you. But if you're going to do it, just go and do it. Don't think about it, just go and do it. And it's the only way that you'll get the benefits from this. Don't talk yourself out of it. And as you can see there on the presentation, I do not know what that div means there. Obviously some error, but there we go. All right, guys, so that's cold showers, ice baths, and cold thermogenesis. You've got a bath, you've got cold water, you've got a shower, just one of these protocols that you just need to go and do it, try it. If you hate it, don't do it again. If you hate it, try it again. It definitely gets easier and it could have some amazing benefits. I will see you on the next module.